Hello, good morning and welcome back to LTTV's coverage of the World Great Grandmasters Beach Ultimate Championships here in Sardinia. You are watching the young legends in the white from Germany play Jets, which is the French team in the dark grey black. So young legends started off on O, but a turn near their end zone line. So Jets working it up the centre now. Oh, fakes the end zone shot. Looking for the dump, swings across. It's Goliard on disc. Lovely floaty disc to the end zone, but nicely intercepted by Achenbach, who will walk it up to the end zone line. Oh, and an incredible layout from the number 93 rather, Levenez, just spotting that disc coming and going full stretch. By the way, I didn't mention, I'm Ali Thomas, I'm here with Benji Rees.
Morning, Ali.
Sorry, Benji, got carried away.
That's all right.
Carried away. Oh, a lovely up the line cut and a score from Goliard, one of the captains on this Jets team, and that is a break to start the game.
Good start there from Jets. One turn, maybe you could say the first was a little bit unfortunate with the drop, but the second one, what a spectacular block it was. Trying to find that inside channel, and then, you know, very heads up defending, turned, was able to make that layout snag, and then maybe a little bit miscommunication defensively on the turn for the young legends, because the up line cut started very early, but because the stack's positioned far away enough in the end zone, it means that there's no defender poaching in that space, so he gets the steps, the throw goes, and he's able to milk that all the way into the end zone for the simple goal. And a nice break to start for Jets, because not only, of course, all breaks are good at any time, but the fact that you've got one in so early, you've got it in so early, and you've done so with some big plays as well, that really cheese you up.
We've got a very big pull centre of the end zone from Jets. That's Logan. Very vocal sideline from the Jets here, controlling their defence. Got Klima on disc. Oh, intended for Kohlstadt. Logan tries to save it, can't quite get there. So Jets have a chance to extend their lead.
Yeah, young legends, it feels like they haven't just quite clicked into gear yet. Top seed in this pool. They were the beaten finalists last time out this tournament was held. So maybe some early teething problems here as that throw from Jets. That's not going to get it done.
Yeah, it also looked like the defender may well have had the body position to get a D on it, had it come back in. So Kohlstadt. Oh, but a call on the throw potentially? Oh no, he's just throwing it back to where it went out.
No, I think it is a call. So maybe just getting a little bit handsy on the mark, perhaps.
Potentially.
Might help explain why the throw was so wayward.
So nice upcut line from Langlois there. Looking to the end zone. Oh, there's a slightly wobbly handler reset.
Yeah, there was space for the upline cut. It wasn't a bad cut. It was right to get thrown to. Just poor execution.
Schoenberg floats a lovely disc into the end zone for Hertel. So young legends hitting back is 1-1.
Nice for them to get their first point of the game on the board, because there was a position there where, you know, 2 breaks to start the game, and, you know, even though they're probably the favoured team in this matchup and maybe even in this pool, you know, if you go a couple of breaks down early, it's always difficult to inch your way back into the game.
Oh yeah, such a mental blow.
And you can see they just puts a little. He's kind of floating that one. He's showing the underside of the disc perhaps to the wind, and he's just letting it sit out there lovely. And Hertel is not going to have any problems bringing that one down. The receiver, the defender, had given up on it long before, and so we can just watch it all the way into the breadbasket.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying last game, you know, a few steps on beach is a lot more than a few steps on grass, and if you can get, you know, your defender on the back foot, you are acres free. So lovely floaty pull. It's going to hang for a long time. Young legends setting up their defense. You've got Boileau, swings it to Malik. Oh, an unfortunate, sorry, that's Le Rolec Looks like it's just slipping out of his fingers, perhaps a little bit of sand on the disc. Oh, and that's a lovely round to Schunk. Very close to the end zone now. Bounce cut from Achenbach, not a fan. And a very simple swing to Achenbach, bouncing from one end of the end zone to another. And Young Legends break back to go 2-1. Oh no, hang on.
Yeah, it is 2-1. We're just gonna get a little bit of an adjustment in the scoreboard. But yeah, you're right. They're utilising the full width of the pitch there. You know, stretching it all the way to one sideline, and then that's not there, swinging it all the way across. And as a defender, it's so tiring when you're constantly shuttling back and forth at the front of the end zone. And as you mentioned, you can't cover anything, so it's a question of what do you give up? And you know, generally you sit a bit more on the open side and then give up the break space. And credit to Young Legends for capitalising on that.
Definitely. So you've got Stephenson holding the disc, one of the captains on this Young Legends team. Young Legends being their name as the Legends division is the 60 plus. So the team not quite there yet, hence the young.
I mean, they may not technically be legends yet, but I mean, you know, silver medalists at the last championship, looking to improve on that here. Build yourself legendary status already, certainly.
Oh, a couple of cuts to the same space there, but Bardin comes up with it. Doesn't like the upper line, then looks again to Chevalier. Lots of space in the middle of the field, but the reset goes back to Bardin. A nice switch on the defense there, but Langlois still manages to get the disc. Very tight defense from the Young Legends here, not giving the Jets much to work with.
It really feels like every pass they've got to really work for it. You're noticing that they're holding the disc for a long time because the continuation, the timing isn't there, and the cutters are working so hard to get free.
Yeah, there's a lot of really heads-up switching from Young Legends, just seeing cutters coming from behind them switching. Oh, and a lovely little shoulder fake from Chevalier to get the dump. Looking upfield, not a lot of movement. Gets it off to the Glovenek. Back to Chevalier. Oh, and a lovely cut to the middle of the field from Langlois. Fake swings to the sideline. Just working it up the sideline now. And a foul call. Looks like it's going to be uncontested by Schöneberg.
Yeah, just getting his hand caught in the metaphorical cookie jar a little bit there. Seeing some good hand signals as well, letting everyone know that it's an uncontested foul. So the disc is going to stay in the possession of Le Glovenek.
So inching their way closer to the end zone here. Luangwa surveying his options. Nice open cut from Bardin. Really knocking on the door. And some nice movement from Bardin to get free. Being marked by Helma King on the Jets side. The only woman in this whole game, in fact.
Indeed they are, and credit to Jets because in the face of, you know, a lot of tight pressure, they worked hard and they did eventually get it down, but you could really feel that it was a proper grind for them.
Yeah.
They were not having it easy. There was no flow, no real continuation. And, you know, there is an art to winning those points when it's a bit messy, but you feel perhaps as the game goes on, if you can't get that motion really kind of clicking, then it does tire you out a little bit more. And as the game goes on, you know, if your opponent's finding that and the scoring's a little bit easier for them, then, you know, back into the game, back into the tournament, you're just going to have a bit more in the tank.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is kind of an issue, well, not necessarily an issue, but if you don't train very much as a team together, you know, knowing who's the first cut, you know, getting that timing right is not something that happens straight away. And especially if your team is, you know, from all over the country, as the Jets are, you don't necessarily have those connections to build on.
What a pull that is, by the way, landing right and stone dead at the back of the end zone.
So Young Legends working it out nicely. Achenbach sends one deep. It's going to hang and be an aerial battle. Oh! And Struber just can't quite get up and get there. An excellent defense from Planchin there to just read it, and it was going sort of fading behind Struber, so very difficult to read.
Yeah, in the previous game we saw how kind of with the blades that took it towards the break side, you're taking the defender out of it a little bit there. But that time it faded back towards the open side where the defender's got the position, and it just hung up too much.
Oh, and there we go. We've got hitting back with a shot of his own, but unfortunately just a little bit too far in front of Rabe there.
I like the look. You know, he's got the defender making that almost coat hanger 7 cut to the front corner and then bounce back in towards the other side, but just couldn't sit that inside out on the wind a little bit.
So we've got Schunk picking up Young Legends in a vertical setup, looking upfield. Oh, and a really nice undercut from Achenbach, miles free. Struber on disc. Schunk there, not a lot of pressure from this Jets. I think they're really worried about the deep shots going, so they're sticking a bit deep, and just a bit of a bump on the mark from Leven there.
Yeah, everyone getting back, it's sort of into position. Obviously, it's difficult to kind of stop a lot of the time on beach, so it takes a bit of time.
A lovely round throw to Achenbach, and we have a repeat of previous. And this time, Struber is able to read it, and the disc is not fading behind his head, so a lovely point. We'll take it to 3-2.
Yeah, just had the right edge on it that time, so held its shape, kept its space towards the break side, and that makes the receiver's job so much easier when the thrower's helping to take the defender out of the play as well.
Absolutely. First one was just a trial run, just a little practice.
And it's such a nonchalant kind of flick of the wrist, but defender makes an effort, but Struber's got that position nice and early, so the defender's trying to have to kind of curl their way around. But it's such a difficult task. Yes,
definitely. And it looked like he maybe even stumbled a bit there, trying to maybe get the right plant for a jump, and then the sand perhaps shifted under his feet a bit.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, with grass or with indoor, you've got a solid, consistent surface. So it's easier to time jumps, it's easy to kind of really explode into that motion. But on the beach, as you mentioned, yeah, the sand moves under your feet, and often you think you're in a good position, and then all of a sudden you just kind of don't. No, you just don't.
Oh, very big lady pull back. Just fading out of bounds, it looks like. And an expletive from Langlois there, slightly frustrated with himself.
Yeah, my French is not what it used to be, but I could translate it. I will not to spare your ears, but clearly frustrated with him. He liked the idea of kind of the jack deep, but I think he rushed a little bit. He was quite upright in the stance, not really following through with it. And it tailed out very early on.
So we've got Korstad, swings round to Stefansson, up the line to Hertel, and centres. Oh, and an excellent diving bid from Korstad. Oh, lots of faking. Gets a nice IO out to Logan. Looking upfield. Doesn't like what he sees. Oh, and an incredible dive from Hertel, but it's going to be called down. Not much discussion, except it was down. Fair enough.
I agree with that. Got it on the hop almost, and again, maybe just guilty of being too casual with the throw, because that should have been a comfortable completion.
Absolutely.
But I was going to say he turfed it, but you can't turf it on grass. On sand, I mean. I don't know what the equivalent is here.
He beached it. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just beats the throw, and you know, Hertel, he made a very valiant attempt, but just couldn't get there.
So we've got potentially a bit of discussion here about positioning. Got a more horizontalish look from Jets, swinging round. Very nice up the line shot to Chevalier. Looking into the end zone. Very tough pressure from the young legends. Not a lot of options for the Jets, but he puts up a floater. Oh, and valiant effort from Logan, but it's brought down by Langlois, I believe. And yeah, not much you can do when the disc is going behind you. Hard to read, hard to jump. Really nice shot.
I mean, that's a proper tantalizer really for a defender. I mean, even in the true derivation, like Tantalus himself, like reaching for those grapes that consistently that just get further and further away, and it's over his head, and he jumps, and it's a good one. But again, it's really difficult, as you mentioned, when you're right underneath the disc, to A, track it, and B, smack it. And so Langlois, all he's able to do is a couple of little steps to backpedal, catch it right in the chest, and it's going to tie us up at 3 apiece. Tight game here.
Yeah, definitely. It's turning into a not quite a nail biter because we've still got a lot of time left, but certainly a very tight game and an exciting one at that. So we'll have another big bladey pull that will unfortunately hit the back line.
Yeah, I think it landed on the tape from my look, and that they were just having the conversation about that. But obviously the line is out, so it will come in from the brick mark. But that was so close to being inch perfect. Yeah, from Goliard.
That would have probably been the best pull I've ever seen had that been completed.
To be honest, I know it seems boring because it's just like putting a throw in a spot, but honestly, the precision on a really good pull, always something to behold.
So you've got Sheuken walking up to the brick mark and Young Legends in a more horizontal setup. Oh, and the immediate hammer to Struber. That is an incredible point.
Does Audacious cover that? I don't know if Audacious quite covers that.
Oh my god. I think Cheeky is too, not strong enough. Maybe Audacious is a bit too strong. Somewhere in the middle of those two. Wow. Not much you can do about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the arms out, kind of outstretched, Radicke, saying that, I mean, what do you want me to do? I mean, it brings it in from the brick mark. Should we? And he's like, nah, off you go. And he just, for want of a better way, he just yeets it. And it is inch perfect. I mean, it's perfect for Struber to reel in. You cannot do it any better than that.
Just a little thumbs up from Struber, yep, that was good.
More of that, please.
Take that.
Well, we talked about how the pull was nearly perfect.
Yeah.
And you see that they got punished for it because it meant they had time to get ready. Discs brought in, and immediately they're in a good position. Everyone set up exactly where they need to be, and the hammer just pinged over the top right in stride.
So we're now at 4-3. So on serve, as it were. Got Le Garnier. Oh! Tries to swing to Langlois, but there's a diving Legends player able to get the turn very near their end zone.
I think it was Lelgen in the end.
Oh, and that is... Oh, that was a very visionary throw from Herma King, but I don't think anyone in the stack was necessarily expecting it. Just reacted a split second too late to reel that one in.
I think maybe Herta was the intended target, but it was just kind of a fake rather than a committed cut.
Yeah.
And just couldn't quite get enough air on it for Lelgen to get what would have been the most spectacular of bookends.
Oh, absolutely. So Maehr to upfield, and a little bit of argy-bargy as the defenders try and get to their people.
Slightly surprised to not see the pit call there. Sorry, Ali.
Yeah, no, it's maybe I guess his person was pretty close as well. So Jets have got it off the sideline. We've got Le Garnier to Goliard. Vertical stack in the end zone. 2 cuts from the front. Swings instead to Le Garnier. Back to Goliard. Oh, and well caught under very intense pressure. Standing right on the end zone line.
Just about snuck it in there.
Hard to tell.
Yeah, I think they've successfully jammed it in the jam hole. I mean, that was...
Damn.
It was not the prettiest of receptions, and I think that Levens has maybe picked up a little bit of a knock. But I think this is what makes the point here is this give go. He's already on the move. The bid comes in, and it means that he's not in position to stop that. And it's a beautiful lead throw right into the path. And then just one step overcommits and able to reach behind and just about pour it into the clutches. I mean,
yeah,
not not the prettiest point, but they'll count the same.
Yeah, it looked like the receiver, the disc was a little bit behind him, so he had to turn and sort of shoulder hammocking in the chest a little bit to get the disc, but all incidental. And so here we are at 4-all with 25 minutes left to go.
Yeah, so 5 minutes till half. Is the half cap at 25 minutes or at 7 points, but I kind of feel at this point it probably is, with less than 5 minutes to go. Still 3 points away. Probably will get the half cap. Definitely.
It's a slightly looser match. I thought it was his own for a second, but no. We've got Achenbach on the disc, looking upfield. Oh, very nice up the line cut, but breaks the force instead to Lang. Lang to Weitel. Looking into the end zone, and a lovely inside shot. Oh, just bounces out of the hands of Struber, who's been very reliable in the end zone so far.
Yeah, he's been so sure-handed. That's a bit of a surprise. I mean, the throw's where it needs to be. It just somehow, it's like it's got a bit of Italian olive oil in it, and it just sneaks through.
Needed to be a 60-mile-an-hour hammer for him to catch it. Little iron shot.
Made it too easy for him. Yeah, can't hit him in the hands. Ridiculous.
We've got Boileau on disc. Oh, it's a floaty pass to the middle, intercepted. And just a little lead pass into Jens Achenbach. And that is not an error-free point, but got there in the end, young legends.
I mean, they earned the turn back very quickly. You can see what the Jets were trying to do. Isolate that player coming into the middle in plenty of space. But credit to the young legends, because they heads up, they noticed it. And when the throw floated a little bit, as we see again on the replay here, I think when he released it, he knew as well that Struber was there. And in the end, as you mentioned, Achenbach is the one who gets it. And then he's off to the races, and that little hop, skip, and a jump into the end zone, collecting the dish for the goal.
Yeah, and a nice little push pass spike.
I like that. I'm a big fan of that, actually. Just casual, like, yeah, I scored, it's fine.
Yeah.
Act like you've been there before, which, in all fairness to players in the Great Grandmasters division, probably have.
Almost certainly, yes. And in fact, most of this team did play in 2018. They've only had a couple of roster changes in the intervening years, so probably has been exactly here before. So Jets now to equalise. Another really nice pull, landing sort of centrally near the sideline of the end zone. Got Goliard. Oh, fakes the big throw. It's got Bardin coming back from the dump, but nice little inside shot to Rab. Will be sent back.
I think a bit of a travel there when the mark was down. He just lost his footing ever so slightly.
Ah, makes sense. So we've got Courtil looking deep. Dumps back to Bardin. Back to Goliard. And a nice low squat there to Boileau.
Maybe another little bump on the mark.
Oh, and it's excellent D into one of the spectators. It looks like there may be a call.
Did seem like there was a lot of contact on there.
Yeah.
This game has been there. I mean, there has been that physicality. We just about got the shot there between the two players who were encroaching on the sideline.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, after you.
I forgot what I was going to say.
So we've got a retracted call between Logan and Courtil. So it will be a turnover, and Young Legends have a chance to extend their lead.
I think I remember what I was going to say, and it's that like the disc was not particularly well thrown disc, and it was going to fade out of the sideline. So maybe in the end that's why the call's been retracted.
Quite possibly.
Because they decided that actually it wasn't going to get the disc anyway.
Nice shot through the middle to Schoenberg, then swings to Herter. Looking upfield, not a huge fan of what he sees. Is he going to throw a hammer? No, it's a floaty backhand, and Rabet falls slowly to the ground, and there's a stall out called. He was holding on to the disc for quite a while.
Something I'd like to see Hertel do a bit earlier is he was kind of focused on downfield, and maybe after a few seconds, if you're not seeing that, really square up, turn in field, and have a look and try and get the disc, off the sideline into a better position.
Definitely. But he absolutely did the right thing there after that court by just dumping it back immediately. And that's a very long throw that's just going to go out of bounds, be intercepted by Goliath. Oh, but a travel call.
Yeah, Hertel's not happy with where he set his feet after coming back in bounds.
Goliath just shaking a bit of sand out of the disc before stepping on the pitch. Nice swing to the middle to Bardin. Got a couple of options. Oh, and that's a lovely IO backhand that's going to fade quite a few tall players underneath it. And it's the D by Hertel. Not quite sure.
I think maybe as Goliath was trying to get into position to get the mark on, he maybe came through the hand of Hertel as he's trying to release it. I
see, yes. Some French shrugging going on. Okay, so the Legends moving up the pitch again. Nice shot through the middle. And a nice break to Korstadt. Onto the sideline with Klima. Looking at the end zone, works it up the sideline to Schöneberg. Oh, wow. Completely sells his mark and is able to get just a cheeky little forehand off to Logan.
I mean, the defender's sailed so far down the river. He's in the Mediterranean Sea by the end of it.
Which is not that far away from us, to be fair.
But, I mean, that's the power of having a purposeful fake.
Yes.
Especially if you can get that snap of the wrist, you really can get the defender biting on that. And it freed up the space for the well, not quite the swing, but for that break throw on for the score.
So we'll see it here. It wasn't even really that purposeful of a fake. The defender, I think, just perhaps biting on the purposeful pivot, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe losing the footing slightly. So as well, I've got to commit to this because otherwise, if I'm going to fall over, I may as well do something.
Yes, I believe we may have an error on our scoreboard because this looks like they're swapping sides for half.
Yeah.
Oh no, hang on.
Half-time cap.
Yes. So it is 6-4 and we had the cap +1 for the half, just so the teams swap sides in case there's a lot of wind, as there often is on the beach.
Yeah, it basically means that the... Hang on, words. I was going to say it's been a long day. It hasn't even been a long day. Yes, basically it means it kind of undoes some of the advantage that might be won from a toss. As you mentioned, if it is particularly upwind, downwind, the way the pitches are situated with the Mediterranean Sea directly behind us in the commentary booth and where the cameras are, yeah, the wind, when we do get it, tends to push kind of, it's a crosswind rather than upwind, downwind. But as you mentioned, yeah, if it is directional, then it does help to undo some of that advantage, perhaps.
Okay, I think there's a bit of a discussion about whether or not it is half-time.
I think so. Maybe they took the half-time 1 point early. So the cap went on during that point, maybe, rather than before that point.
I see.
So they've got 1 more point before the half-time cap.
So, okay, so it will be half at 7 regardless then?
I think that's what's going on. I think it would explain why they've all of a sudden everyone's gone back to the other ends.
Yes, let's go with that.
Unfortunately, there's no real hand signal for, yeah, we might have got this wrong.
A retracted half-time.
Right. Yeah, actually there isn't a hand signal for half-time, is there, as far as I know?
Not as far as I'm aware. There may be in the USAU rules.
Just make an H with your hands, that'll do.
So Strube, sorry, not Strube, Schunk with the pull. And floats for a long time. Chevalier on the disc, upfield to Mallet. Nice little dump back to Chevalier again. Langlois trying to get free, managed it after a few jinks. Looking to the break side. Oh, and a bit of a miscommunication there. Langlois exercising his lungs again. Not sure if he's upset at himself or his cutters. Oh, wow.
Maybe a bit of both.
Very strong shot through the middle to Achenbach. And a beautiful hammer. Oh, just bouncing off the hands of Shunk, who shakes his fingers, but he's a foul called. He's tapping his hands, I think, perhaps saying that there was a bit of contact from the French player, who immediately contests it.
Yeah, Le Glonec did obviously not see that the same way that Shunk did.
Langlois perhaps offering his opinion, but it looks like it's going to be a contested foul. Achenbach walking over to the disc.
Langlois with that, with the shrug and the kind of the wave of the hand, which is like, let's just get on with it again.
Very Gallic.
Oui.
So players just communicating what the outcome of the call was, and I guess where they were when that hammer went up. Oh, potentially retracted?
Or
there we go. Okay, yeah, so a retracted foul call, which means the turnover stands. There we go. Got there in the end.
Got there in the end. I mean, obviously you want to kind of get the game moving quickly, but you'd always rather maybe players take a couple of seconds more and get the right result.
Yeah, definitely. Nice deep cut going. Langlois doesn't fancy it. Instead, a lovely space throw through to Le Glonec. Back to Langlois. He's got two deep cuts, doesn't fancy either of them. Nice shot through the middle to Meillard. Very close to the end zone now. Chevalier on the disc. He's got Meillard in front of him. Oh, and that's a very cheeky throw. That's some indoors kind of play there.
I mean, it's almost a backhand knife, like you're playing against like a 4 on the line. And it was so congested in the front corner of that end zone. And somehow, Jets, I mean, they were able to blast their way in there. There was not. I mean, to say there was not a lot of space is like, it was
an understatement, absolutely.
It felt like going through airport security. It was just like everyone's way too close, especially in these COVID times. But we're seeing it again here on the replay. You can see he's looking for that, and there is the space for the breakthrough. I think he just that like the timing is not quite there, and in the end he's like, yeah, why not?
I mean, props to Levin for bringing that down, because that is not an easy disc to read by any means.
I mean, if it works, why not? every throw's open if you just throw it hard enough. Just throw it with the right degree of hard, it's always open.
Okay. So still a very tight game. I really don't know what's happening with the half-time now, because they haven't swapped ends. But okay, whatever. Lovely deep shot.
We'll see. Oh, that is a beautiful deep shot, inch perfect into the arms of Tim Kolstad, who caught it right in stride. And I think now that'll be half at 7 for the half-time point cap.
Yes.
So, yes, okay, because the young legends are now going to the other end. Right, okay.
There we
go.
All makes sense.
It's one of those things where especially after not playing a tournament, coming from tournaments that don't have half-time time caps, all of a sudden going into one, it just throws you a little bit there, but a beautiful put from Logan.
Yeah, just right near the back of the end zone, defenders nowhere near, just, oh, that's lovely.
I mean, Goliard is incredibly athletic, and if there's a play to be made, you can be sure that he'll try and make it, but that time I think he just knows that he's been beaten that time.
So we'll have a couple of players walking their way up to the line for each team. So should be 7-5, just changing our scoreboard.
Maybe a little bit of sand's got in the system.
Maybe.
It gets everywhere. Like we were getting in the way back to our accommodation last night. I was like, okay, brush myself down, shake myself off before I get in the car. And the second I get in the car, sand falls from everywhere. And I just don't get it. I just do not understand it.
It hides. Sentient, I think.
Sneaky. Yeah, I would honestly would not surprise me at this point.
Sentient Sand.
I'm
Sounds
still-
like a good indie band name.
It does actually, yeah. I think I'm finding sand from my first Paganello, and that was a decade ago. And it still keeps turning up.
Oh, an absolute heartbreak for Bardin, just not watching the disc all the way into his hands. And so the young legends have a chance to run an end zone play and take a very early point out of this half.
You can hear the shocked gasps on the sideline.
And some nice cutting from Hertel, but well covered. Oh my word, incredibly well hung onto that disc. It looked like he only had a few fingers on it, and there was defensive pressure from Planchin, but that is a break for young legends.
I mean, it's gutting. I was going to say it's galling, and then I realised pun not intended that time. But it's no one means to drop the ball, obviously, but you know, sometimes you just take your eye off it. Perhaps you're looking at the next pass already, and it's just it really deflates you mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, credit to Jets, because they didn't let the you know, so often, you know, you're on the back foot, you're not there mentally, but they didn't score from the first pass. They had to go backwards, and even then, there was the bid from Planchin, as you mentioned, was very close.
Yeah.
Very nearly got there, and it could only have been the tips of a couple of fingers to hang on to that one. But young legends do get a break early in the second stanza, and they're now 8-5 up.
So Jets, nice swinging up to Beaulieu. Middle of the pitch now. Swings back to Le Glornec. And that's a lovely, lovely lead pass up to Beaulieu. And an easy score for Le Glornec. That was a really, really nice point.
What a throw. I mean, as you mentioned, could not have done it any more perfectly. Across the pitch, going with that blade, just lead the receiver, and it's coming back in as well, so it hits right in stride. And that time you've got the time in the continuation cut there as well. See it again on the replay. It's the defender just commits, and it leaves them out of position, and that opens up the space, as you mentioned, for Langlois to just sit this throw on the wind into space. Boileau catches it, and then, yeah, simple continuation to Le Rolec for the goal.
Yeah, looks like the defense just wasn't really sure where the disc is, wasn't really keeping track of their players, just a very focused Jets point.
And that's always the risk reward calculation that you've got to go through in your head, that mental maths, whenever you want to make a bid, because obviously, especially on the beach, those bids are going to be made, but you've got to think, if I don't get there, you know, how likely am I to get there? And if I don't get there, how is this going to, you know, what detriment might this be to the team? Because obviously I'm going to be out of position for a bit.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so we had a long pull that just didn't quite come back in. So we've got Hermeking bring it up to the brick mark even. Nice to Logan. Oh, catches it under extreme pressure. And then we've got Kohlstadt on the sideline. Very active force from Jets, but well caught by Hertel. And a foul call. Looks like it's uncontested.
Yeah, just got a little bit of a bump, and then just kind of flopped out of Hertel's hands.
Oh, that is a bold put, showing a lot of trust in his receiver Logan, but the wind, I think, just carried it over their heads, not coming down quite the way that Hertel had intended it to.
I mean, it's a spicy shot. Everything was very congested, so thinking blade to the back corner, but it just sat up and it invited the pressure. And, you know, even though the defender did not get a tip on it, he drew the receiver too close towards it, got underneath the disc to the point where it goes over their heads harmlessly. And as a defender, it doesn't matter if you get it, as long as the other team doesn't.
So Jets with a chance to narrow the lead of the young legends. In the middle of the pitch, not a lot of options. Oh, and that's just an unfortunate throw, slightly behind Bardin, who can't quite hold on to it. So the young legends will have a chance at redemption. Setting up with three handlers. And a lovely swing across to Klima, who sells his mark once again. Logan on disc and a nice little score to Kolstad. No fuss, no frills.
Again, utilising the full width of the pitch, and one of the things about playing beach, especially when you've got players of this calibre of throwing, is that the pitches are small enough really that from one area of the pitch you can kind of throw to any other area of the pitch. So a big cross-field swing all the way from one sideline to the other, because the fields are slightly narrower than they would be outdoors, it's a less risky option, and it means that there's a poach, we can hit that more easily, and then they kind of get back into rhythm there and use the fact that they've got the continuation and the flow to time that cut towards the open side. Defenders just a step behind, and a nice point in the end for the young legends, reopening a 3-point advantage.
There we go, absolutely. And especially with the wind as light as it is, if you poach off a few steps, those overheads are very much on.
I mean, we saw that earlier in the game, with Shunk just stepping up to the brick mark and then just rifling that hammer deep just through the...
Stefansson just sprinting across the pitch there, making sure there's equal sideline presence for both teams.
Yeah, ever so slightly larger roster for the Germans by just the one player. Well, no, actually, because he's not here. Exactly the same size rosters for both teams.
Oh, almost a D for Vital there, but Jets retain possession. Got Goliath on the sideline. Oh, and a scuba dump to no one. Langlois puts his hands on his knees and just sort of smiles ruefully.
Yeah, Langlois was coming a bit more behind, but I think from Goliath's perspective, there was the space there. He perhaps didn't need to move, but evidently they just lost sight of each other perhaps as he goes to release the scuba.
Oh, lovely inside shot from Vital to Struber, who I think has potentially got 3 or 4 goals now for Young Legends.
He's been a bit of a menace, really.
Definitely has. End zone menace. It's all about getting free in those kind of quite small spaces, and if you've got a handler who can break the force, you are golden.
Often you think about goal scorers being your biggest players in terms of size, and Struber he's not a small guy, but often, especially when you're tight into the end zone, as you mentioned, it's about those. You don't necessarily need to tackle. It's about having those short, sharp changes of direction, especially on the sand. Keeping that centre of gravity low, staying on the balls of your feet, because you often only need a step of separation. And then, because the windows in the end zone will be smaller because you're working with less space, a step of separation, and a good thrower will know that, yep, I've got the ability to put it in that tight space, as we've seen the Young Legends do there.
So Young Legends on a little bit of a roll with the points here. We'll see if Jets can find another gear and start getting some more on the board. And that is an excellent pull all the way at the back of the end zone.
I was thinking that Bardown maybe could have caught that a bit earlier, but perhaps with the drop ball earlier, it's maybe playing in the back of the mind a bit there.
You're almost certainly right there. But some really nice and quick ultimate here. Handler's not really keeping the disc for more than a few seconds. Oh, and a low one. Well reeled in by Chevalier. He's got 2 cuts coming into the same space. Picks Mallet. Back to Chevalier. Oh, and a nice floating shot. Is it going to stay in? It is good. Gosh, that looked like it could have gone either way there, but really well read and brought back in by Mallet.
Yeah, nice balletic almost footwork there, just towing the line. And it was like, because it was almost overemphasised, but there was no doubt about whether or not he was in or out. Yeah. And I like that they were, they were pushing the pace a little bit there. Trying to think back to reading music. Presto's quickly, isn't it?
In Italian or French?
Italian.
I'm not sure.
But they push the tempo. They're pushing the pace a little bit there, and you can see that actually a lot of the cutters were, because they were moving the disc quickly to start, the disc kind of tended to stay moving quickly because defenders were a bit more out of position. They're a bit more tired trying to keep up and track where the play is, and it made the point a bit easier because the disc had that quick movement.
So got Shunk. Oh, and an incredible bid from Rabe there, but still brought in by the taller German player. Achenbach on disc on the sideline, and that's a very nice up the line shot to Weichler. He's got Strube in the end zone. Looks for a dump. Oh! Incredible blading flick to Schunk. There's really not much you can do about that as a defender as it curves away from you. Awesome, awesome point.
I mean, that is so sneaky. It's very much, rather than I see this cut developing and we'll throw to it, it's I see that space developing and I'll put the throw there and I'll trust that someone else has also seen that space developing. Now, when you've played together for a while, even if you haven't necessarily had as much training during the pandemic as you otherwise would, you know, you have that faith that, yes, we're gonna read the field in the same way. We're gonna see the same spaces, see the same spots, and I think that is game.
Indeed, it is. Yeah, that's been 45. That was a very quick point, so I guess the soft cap would have been at 10.
Yeah, I didn't hear the who to go.
No.
But maybe with our headphones on, it's just a little bit difficult too.
God, beach goes so quick.
It does, doesn't it? It goes so quick. And, you know, full credit to Jets because they made the young legends really work for it. And they're a team that, you know, would not surprise me if when we get into the bracket stage, they're there or thereabouts with the ability to, you know, maybe take a couple of names. But I think in the end, young legends just have a little bit too much.
Yeah, and I think their deep shots and their precision breakthrows were just really, really nice, and potentially gave them an extra edge. Well, thanks so much for sticking with us. Reminder to like, comment and subscribe. Do unspeakable things to the like button.
Settle down.
Ring the bell to be notified every time we go live. We also have a Patreon if you would like to express any donations there for as little as £1, $1 or whatever your local currency is. Or if you are not in a position to support us financially, any engagement with our videos also helps us out a lot.
Yeah, we genuinely really do appreciate it. It's a labour of love that goes into it, and the fact that we're able to do it is brilliant. But obviously, it doesn't come without some costs. So, yeah, even if it is just, you know, you don't have the money to contribute, which I appreciate. Coming out of a pandemic, some people don't. You know, then as we mentioned, getting involved. Oh, what a bit that was as well. Just getting involved is a huge help. But yeah, if you do feel like you are in a position to contribute financially, then you can find all the details actually in the description in the YouTube link. As well, there you can find out the list. You can see some of our top supporters, like I think Patrick from Madx, who is an ultimate producer. He's one of almost the top tier of patronage. But even if you don't feel you can contribute that much, it goes kind of all the way down to a couple of coins a month, depending on what your currency is. I'm not entirely sure how Patreon works with
simoleons.
Yes, with currency conversion, a couple of credits. But yes, you can find all the details. There's a link in the YouTube channel, or alternatively, you can look at our website, which is ulti.tv, which has a little bit more in-depth information about what we do. Or you can just search ulti.tv on Patreon and find us there.
Or indeed any search engine, I imagine it will pop up.
I hope so. Yes. If not, we need to get Mike and Milan on the SEO.
Well, we'll leave you with this fantastic highlights reel. So from Villa Simius, I'm Ali Thomas, joined by the delightful Benji Rees, and we will see you after lunch for more ultimate action.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, LTV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.